This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey, hi, hello there. Welcome to another episode of An Anthropologist Watches Glitter and Lasers Retro React. And there's a reason why we're going over this one. And this is Storytime I Almost Died. This is from 4 years ago. This is from August 27th, 2020. A lot of fun stuff happened in 2020, apparently. That was lockdown, by the way. That was lockdown. We can argue about that. But this one I wanted to talk about. This is today is June 25th. Yeah, June, July. I always have to do that. Anybody else have to do that to keep the month straight? Anyway, this is from 2020, and the reason I want to go over this video is because Anna has decided to start a new story arc of being National Park girly. And so she and her dog are off on an adventure to go through all of the national parks in the US, which kind of makes sense anyway. But back in 2020, Anna decided to share a story with us about how she nearly died while hiking because basically she's an idiot. So and I have been wanting to react to this video. I can't remember if I have. I think I reacted to it in a live a while ago. But I have been trying to get my friend to do this with me because my friend does emergency rescue in their spare time. And I just really wanted them to sit down and go over this with me because there is so much wrong with this story. But I am going to put on my field hat for this one and just kind of point out things that I was taught when I started working in the field being archaeology, and the things that I was told not to do when we were working on days like today or like yesterday when it was 101 outside before the heat factor. Before you factored in the heat factor, right? So there's that. Or what we call the real feel. Oh, man. And before we get too far into this, I just want people to understand that, like, heat stroke is real. People really can die from heat stroke. And as much as I will be maybe joking, probably at some points laughing because I'll just be so flabbergasted or just so, like, mind blown at the sheer stupidity of some of the things that she will end up saying here, because I've watched this more than once at this point. I do want people to understand that this is very serious, and I really hate when people try to like blow off the fact that heat stroke isn't a thing, or like, oh, you just need to go sit in the sun, or go sit in the shade, or you just need to drink some water or something like that. There is a point where it's basically no return, and you really, if you're going to be out in the heat and stuff like that, you really need to learn to recognize the signs of heat stroke because it can be fatal. And I can't stress enough that these things need to be known. And so I'm going to put some links down in the description for people to go to look at, so that you can learn to recognize these things, or at least just read up on them, because it could be the difference between you or your friends coming back from a hike. Because some people, I don't know why, but some people like think they're bulletproof and they're gonna go hiking in 101-degree weather because, oh, it's fun. Sure, okay, fine. But you know, for your sake and for the sake of the people around you, go out prepared. Maybe don't go out, and that kind of thing. But there's been a lot of times when I've done archaeology where the crew or something, we don't have an option. We have to go out and work, right? So because of that, we have to keep an eye on each other, keep an eye on ourselves, make sure that we're not getting too hot, that we're able to spot whether or not we're potentially suffering, not just from brain rot, or as Anna would say, brain fog. So anyway, I'm going to put some links down below for people to understand heat stroke and that kind of thing, and what to do when you get to those certain points. It's It's not funny. People do die. We lose archaeologists every now and then from heat stroke. It's tragic. It really is, especially when it's preventable. And those are the times that it really makes me mad. And it's been a while since we've lost somebody that I'm aware of in the field to heat stroke, but it's not been that long. Again, really makes me. Actually, I think she did die in 2020. Was the last time I remember losing an archaeologist to heat stroke in the field. So there's that. All right. Anyway, so with that sad note, let's get into this. So I will be very snarky during this, just FYI. So if you don't like it when I'm snarky to Anna, not your video. And this is a 20-minute video. I am going to speed her up. I am not entirely sure why Anna made this video. I think it's one of those times where Anna's trying to make herself sound like she's a badass, and it did not work in her favor, in my opinion. I'm sure for somebody, they listen to this video and they're like, oh my god, Anna's so cool. But this is almost exactly what not to do from point A to point B. So again, keep in mind that this video is from 2020. I think this is well before she started doing her Starbucks sponsorships. So fortunately, we don't have her telling us before she goes hiking to go, chug up a bunch of Starbucks sugary drinks before you go hiking. Thank God for that. But yeah, anyway. So let's see. I don't think I need. Oh, thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. And yeah, let's just get into this and listen to this incredibly stupid story.
Hey you!
Hi.
My name's Anna, aka Glitter and Lasers, and today I'm going to be telling you about a time where I almost died.
Almost died.
Seriously, almost died. Probably one of the scariest moments in my life. Actually, just about 3 weeks
Also, almost preventable. Like, it was preventable. Like, it was preventable.
ago, I went hiking in Utah. I was in Moab, which is like southern Utah, and it's pretty difficult hiking. I know, looking at me right now with the jewelry and the headband and the makeup, you're like, this girl likes to hike?
Yeah. That's kind of it.
Yeah, no, I actually love it. I
Do you, though?
think I like hiking.
You love hiking the same way people like staring at science's ass. Anyway.
As a form of exercise so much because there's a destination, right? I like fitness where you get somewhere. In the end, you get a prize. And the prize in hiking is a beautiful view that you can't see unless you trek a couple miles into the great unknown.
Did you forget your lines?
Now, if you've never been hiking in Moab or you've never heard of Moab before this video, it is insanely beautiful. Like, it is like another planet.
You went hiking in a dress? No offense, but...
And every place you go has a slightly different aesthetic. As you can see from some of this video, it's out of this world. It feels like you get this like special experience that no one else gets. But
do a thing. I had to kill a fly. Sorry. I named the fly Chantel, though, so... R.I.P. Chantel the fly? Anyway, we're just going to pick up here. I think I backed it up a little bit, but onward.
You just have to hike in Moab. So where our story begins is, I've been hiking in this beautiful, out-of-this-world...
I feel like there should be like some kind of music in the background, but I'm editing this one myself, so unfortunately you get stuck with my editing skills.
Terrain for about a week. And I decided to move locations to a different part of Utah called St. George. Now, St. George, there are...
And the dragon?
Several other national parks there that are equally as beautiful.
I wonder, since she's going to be doing all of the national parks again, I wonder if she's going to be doing the St. George and Moab again, right? That would be really interesting, actually, if she decides to do Moab again, whatever this part of the Moab is again. So I would be pretty stoked if she did. And I will be very critical of it again.
As Moab. So we decided to do this park called Snow
Canyon.
It's not a very difficult hike technically, except for the fact that St. George is like 107 degrees in July. No joke, 107 degrees. And that's like the average. It could be higher than that. Now, if you get up really early before the sun is out and when you have like a little bit of shade, it like drops a lot. So like during the evening, because it is just like a vast open desert.
Here's the thing I want to say about high temperatures before everybody's sides start jumping down my throat, because I know someone will. If you are already acclimated to high temperatures, you can probably tolerate higher temperatures than the average person. This comes down to... I have family who lives in Texas, right? And you guys will hear me rag on people about cold temperatures, and you will hear people from the warmer places give me shit about high temperatures because I'm bitching about it being 101. Some of y'all live in temperatures where it is routinely somewhere around 90. Like, I have a friend in the Philippines, and like she's like, "Oh, 100. That's nice." No, it's not. You're lying. Anyway, the point is, if you live someplace where the temperatures are routinely higher, you will have a higher tolerance to higher temperatures, right? So that's just how this works. If I do live someplace where the temperatures are usually more mid to lower temperatures, I have a higher tolerance to mid to low temperatures. So I like cooler temperatures, right? That's just where I am acclimated. So when people bitch about it being cold, I'm like, cold, whatever. I'm wearing shorts when it's 60 degrees outside, right? Kind of a thing. Where my friend in the Philippines is like, it's 75. I'm dying of cold, kind of a thing. So when she's out here and she's like, it's 107 degrees in Moab on average, those of you who are from Utah or those of you who live in Utah and you're, like you're acclimated to that kind of a temperature, you might be like, yeah, it's 107. What? That's like Tuesday. That's fine. You're already acclimated to that. And that's part of the thing. One of the factors that you have to take into consideration when it comes to heat stroke. If you're already acclimated to a high temperature, you're going to be affected by that temperature less than someone like me, who you just drop in the middle of the Moab with no time to acclimate to that temperature. It's going to hit me like a fucking ton of bricks, right? Now, if you give me time to acclimate, and it takes, I think they did something, it's like a week to 2 weeks to get acclimated to temperatures like that. So if you give me a reasonable amount of time to acclimate to those temperatures, I too can shrug off temperatures like that. But I have to have time to acclimate. Same thing with taking you from your 107 degree acclimation and dropping you in the middle of Michigan in the middle of winter. It's going to be cold. But if I give you time to acclimate to those temperatures, you too will be able to tolerate them to the point where it's not as bad, right? And I don't have to worry about you dying of cold, right? Same kind of concept. So for those of you that live in the West or in the Midwest, especially nowadays where the temperature is just freaking ridiculous. And again, this is from 2020. So it's not like it's that far in the past. If you are someone who's already acclimated to these types of temperatures, then yes, these temperatures may not affect you as much. And the concept of 107 degrees in the middle of the day is just like, yeah, Tuesday kind of a thing. But for Anna, who's rocking somewhere near 600 at this point, at least, right? I've already admitted that I have lipedema, but I'm not doing a damn thing about it, Anna. And also, I think she's close to her highest, or she's getting near her highest weight here. And has she just moved to Texas? Anyway, she's new to Texas around this point. Is she new to Texas around this point? She's from Ohio. She lived in New York. She moved to Texas. She's not a native Texan, all right? And then she's in Utah. Why the fuck is she in Utah? Anyway, my point is, not native to the area, right? So that's kind of my point here. Where am I going with this? Anyway, I got lost. Anyway, my point is if you're comfortable with these temperatures to begin with, you're probably not going to be as affected by the high temperatures as somebody who isn't. All right. So for those of you who are getting ready to write me comments about how, I would just shrug off those temperatures. Yes, you're right. If you're already comfortable with those temperatures, you're going to shrug those temperatures off. Anna, I do not for a minute believe, is comfortable with those temperatures. I don't care. She probably might be more comfortable with higher temperatures than I am, just because at this point she has lived in Texas longer and she's probably acclimated with it. And I would believe that she can probably tolerate higher temperatures than I can, just because at this point she has lived in them longer than I have. Like, I am not outside today. Do you know why? It's 97, close to 100 today. I'm not going outside.
The temperature drops to like 60s, 70s. So it's super bizarre because you're like, how is it boiling hot during the day and like I need to wear a sweatshirt at night?
It's called heat induction and like heat retention, and like, anyway, it's science, Anna.
But it is that way. That is the way St. George is. So I get up at 5:30 and I get ready and I pack up my bag. I put tons of water in it. I had like a bladder in the back, which is this like plastic thing that you put water in. And I had 2 liters in that. Then I had an additional liter of water in like a hydro flask that was all ice. So we could get cold water if we needed it for Data.
So you're tracking 3 liters of water around.
I had Data's little backpack thing. I have like a vest that goes on him that reduces his heat when hiking. It like reflects the sun's rays, and you can put water on it and it keeps him cool. I had snacks. I had my tripod. I was ready.
Why are you taking your thick coated black dog into a desert hike? I just feel like that's a bad idea, period. Full stop. I get that people want to take their animals with them. I love my cat. I like taking him places with me. He has a thick undercoat, right? He's a long-haired cat. He has a thick undercoat on top of having the long hair. Like the undercoat is not the long hair part of him. And so in the summer, we shave him because that undercoat is so hot. It makes him so hot that he just doesn't move unless we shave him. And because of that, I don't take him out a whole lot during the summer, especially right now, right? He won't go outside in the summer because he's hot. And it's the same kind of concept. Why would you take a black-haired animal out into, especially a thick-haired, black-haired animal, out into the fucking desert? I don't care if you have a reflective vest on him. It's got to be boiling this poor dog. But anyway, what do I know?
To go. And we didn't really get to the trail or on the trail till like 7 because I'm not the fastest mover in the morning.
No shit.
I'm not. But we got to the trail at 7. It was still.
I do like whatever nail polish she's wearing, though.
Really shady. And then this is what the trail looks like in the morning. You know, it actually had some overcast from the mountains that were.
I think when she's saying we, she's referring to herself and the dog. Because I know as the story goes on, it's just her and the dog. So this is another one of those situations where she's setting the camera up and walking towards the camera, picking the camera up, and then continuing on. So she has, at some point, set this camera up, walked away from the camera, walked towards the camera, and then picked the camera up and either continued to walk away from the camera or taken it with her.
Were like very far away, but somehow created like a little shade. And it was nice. It was like 65, 70 degrees. I was like, I
Do you not understand how the angle of the sun works? Do you not understand? Okay.
can do this. So
This explains a lot.
we set out on the trail and it was a 4-mile trail. And I was like, okay, if we're doing 4 miles, we'll be back by 9. Should be fine. Shouldn't be that hot. So we head off. So we get to the first point that could maybe be a turnoff. And it didn't look right because there was no marker.
Important facts to have at this point. She's got 3 liters of water, plus something to do with the dog. I don't know how much water is on the dog. She's loaded the dog up with water. I don't know how this stupid vest thing of the dog works, but it will come into play later, and it's also stupid. All right? What she doesn't have, a map or a compass. Also, in this clip that she shows, where's the backpack? Where's the dog? The dog's not on this leash that she's carrying. That's a retractable leash. Where's the dog? Where's the backpack that supposedly has the bladder in it with the 2 liters of water? Where's the water cup that she supposedly has with another liter of ice water in it? Where's your shit, Anna? I don't even go hiking in my woods that I live near and have memorized without a compass. The fuck is wrong with you? Why don't you have a map and a compass if you're in a brand new area and you don't know where you're at? You're just blindly walking down a path in an area that you know gets up to way higher temperatures than you're comfortable with, and you know you have a limited amount of time to go and get back. You're just gonna walk out there into the desert like a fucking idiot? Apparently the answer is yes, by the way. I can't stress to y'all, the 2 things that you should probably have on you on top of water and maybe some snacks, if you're going to do something like this, is a compass and a map of the area. All right? You really
really need to have a compass and a map of the area. I know you think your cell phone's awesome. I know you think your little watch is cool. You really need to have a compass and a map of the area. And really, you should probably have a sighting compass, and you should probably know how to use the fucking thing. I'm just saying, if you're gonna do this kind of shit, do yourself the favor of learning to use a compass. It doesn't take that long. It's probably like a 20-minute process. And learn to read a map. Again, 20-minute process tops. I'm not asking you to be like airborne ranger level. I'm not asking you to learn how to use like the fucking complicated, got a laser and a freaking pendulum swinging from the bottom. I don't even know how to use that damn thing. All right. Sighting compass, learn how to read a map. Survival skills. These are like basic fucking skills, okay? This is stupidity. This is what stupidity looks like. I'm very sorry, Anna, but this is being dumb. Anyway, next.
Very far away, but somehow created like a little shade.
Anyway.
And 4-mile trail. So we head off. So we get to the first point that could maybe be a turnoff. And it didn't look right because there was no marker there and there were no cairns. And cairns are these like little rocks that are like...
I have no fucking clue what she's talking about, but I'm 90% sure she's wrong.
Stacked on top of each other that are actually like information out in the wild of where a trail is. So you look for those as to like follow the trail. You follow those rock stacks.
Don't do this. Do not do this. Don't do this.
Things that people stacked up for like whatever reason, which is what I thought they were before I started hiking more aggressively. I used to be like, oh my gosh, look at that cute rock statue.
All right. I went to the National Park Service website because I thought these rock cairn things were fucking stupid. And I still think they're stupid. However, caveats. All right. Caveats. Let me see if I can switch this over. There we go. This says, have you ever come across strange stacks of rocks? I don't need my glasses. While hiking in national parks, maybe you wonder wondered what they are and if they mean anything. Wonder no more. These rock piles are called cairns, and they are often used to mark hiking routes in parks. You should leave them as you find them, as they may serve an important purpose. Caveats. The rock cairns at national parks like, I'm gonna butcher this, El Mapas, Hawaiian volcanoes, and Arcadia are carefully maintained by park staff to help hikers like you keep hikers like you on the correct path. The cairns at Arcadia National Park in Maine not only guide visitors, but also add some historical interest to the hiking trails. In 1896, Walden Bates, a lead author of the hiking map, still referenced to create today's trails maps of Arcadia, developed a standard for building cairns in a unique style that we now call the Bates cairn. So there's a specific style here in Arcadia that distinguishes it from any other stack of rocks, right? So it's not just random stack of rocks, it's a specific style in Arcadia. However, starting in the 1950s or 60s, the Bates cairns were replaced by the traditional conchial cairns. Then in the 1990s, Arcadia's National Park began recovering this little piece of history by reestablishing and building Bates cairns on the many east side trails of the park. If you're unsure about following cairns on your hike, ask returning hiker or any park ranger. All right, this is an example of a Bates cairn at the Arcadia National Park. Clearly very obvious, right? Again, this is the U.S. National Park site. Other parks don't build or maintain rock cairns and warn visitors to not rely on these rock piles to guide their hikes. Any rock cairns are ornamental and can often become a problem for hikers who think they are supposed to follow them. Before visiting a park, check with their website for information on their hiking trails and signage. This is the picture that Anna used. This is from the small navigational rock cairn at Canyons National Park. Trails at Canyons are usually marked with cairns and have signs at intersections. Many remote trails do not receive regular maintenance and may not be adequately marked. All back County hikers should carry a topographic map. Parks have different ways of maintaining trails in cairns. However, they all have the same advice. If you come across a cairn, do not disturb it. Don't knock it down or add to it. Sorry, there you go. Follow the guidelines from the Leave No Trace Center or Outdoor Ethics to ensure future hikers can navigate the trails and prevent damage to the landscape. Do not tamper with cairns. Do not build unauthorized cairns. Do not add to existing cairns. Now that you know a little bit about cairns, check out these examples that you may come across on your next hike. This one is from the Rock Cairn at Zion National Park. This one is from the Hawaii Volcano National Park. And these are various cairn... Is that person named Karen? Sorry. These are various cairns that are also... That's kind of neat. Also, a cairn can be not just a marker. It can also be like a monument and or a religious site. So there's that. Now, Anna said she went to St. George Park in Utah. Now, Anna mentioned that she went to Snow Canyon in St. George, Utah. And I have looked, and I'm just using this blah, 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 this summary here because I looked, and there does not seem to be any mention of the trails in St. George using cairns as trail markers because the as you saw, the National Park Service told me to check and see if the park uses such signage, and as far as I can tell, it does not. So, but there we are. This is the map. Yeah, so Anna said she went to Snow Canyon in Utah. So this is Snow Canyon. This is the map of Snow Canyon in Utah. I don't know exactly where she said she was. It's obviously a large area. Clearly, there's a lot going on here. A lot of trails. A lot of topography. A lot going on. I don't mind that she doesn't share exactly where she went. Don't really care. This is why you need to take a map and compass with you. She could be anywhere. Okay, just going off of what Anna has told us, I'm just going to guess. I'm guessing that Anna took the White Rocks Trail. And it's because it says it's a 4-mile round trip and it takes about 2 hours. The difficulty is moderate. I'm just guessing that this is the trail Anna took. This is downloadable from the website, by the way. If you go to the Snow Canyon website, you can just go to the Snow Canyon trail guides and download it. This is this White Rocks. You just go here and click on it, and it opens up this little doodad, and it'll tell you. Also, by the way, again, I looked it up. They don't use cairns here as their markers. If you come here to the... This is the other one it might have been, was the Red Sands, because this is a 3.5-mile round trip, another 2-hour marker. You can see the trail markers out here. And just FYI. This one might be it because it says safety and concerns. The portion of this trail beyond the West Canyon Road features deep sands and that greatly enhance difficulty in hot weather. And this one says this trail features uneven rock surfaces and long stretches of sand with little to no shade. Wear suitable footwear. I'm guessing this is the one Anna took just because she's going to bitch about it being really not shady for a while. But either way, it's one of these two. I'm guessing it's White Rocks. That's my guess. Either way, this literally tells you everything you need to know. This trail description explains to you the trail and what you're looking for, right? It also tells you special features about the trail. It tells you exactly the trail. From White Rocks Trail, head along Highway 18. The hike crosses an open lava field and dry creek bed before meeting a T intersection. From here, hikers can choose to take a short spur trail into the rocky cliffs, ending at a natural amphitheater.
Back at the T intersection, a left turn will take hikers through sparse thickets of scrub oak before arriving at an expansive overlook of the main canyon. The trail turns down a steep, slick rock slope and traverses the lava flow down to the next intersection, with Gila Trail entering from the left. Continue in a southwest direction along a route of mixed sand and basalt lava. Hikers will come to a red and white slick rock overlook of West Canyon Road. This trail ends shortly after at the intersection with Lava Flow Trail. So this trail actually feeds into other trails. The point is, all of that information was on the internet. All of that took me, 20 minutes to look up. I spent probably more time doing that because I was trying to figure out what the hell she was talking about. All of that could have been navigated by downloading a map. All of that could have been navigated by downloading the map. All of that could have been navigated by having a compass. Where the hell was her shit? And also, the Cairns thing that she just got done telling us a story about isn't true in this particular area that she's in. As far as I can tell, the Cairns are very specific to very specific parks, and also they are very noticeable. Like they are of a specific shape. It looks like they are of a cone shape, unless you are in that one Arcadia park where they are of a very different shape, and they're called a specific type of Cairn. So even though Cairns, yes, are a thing, they are specific looking, and they seem to be specific to parks. So Anna is full of shit. Okay. Didn't do her research before she went out to this park, didn't take a map of the trails she was going to be on, didn't have a compass with her, and just marched out into the middle of the fucking desert with no idea where she was going as the sun's climbing up into the midday. Now, she said it was a 4-mile hike. That trail that we were looking at is a 4-mile hike round trip. It said it would take about 2 hours. She said she hit the trail at 7. It would have taken 2 hours to get back. That would have made it 9 o'clock. Okay? So, this is why I think she's on that trail. Go.
Shouldn't be that hot. So we head off. So we get to the first point that could maybe be a turnoff, and it didn't look right because there was no marker there and there were no cairns. And cairns are these like little rocks that are like stacked on top of each other.
This thing that she's showing you, I already showed you from the Park Service website. This is not the park that she's hiking at. This is a completely different park. These cairns seem to be specific to the individual parks. And again, according to the St. George website, they don't use cairns as trail markers. So this is irrelevant information for this park. They don't use cairns there, as far as I can tell. Does that mean that there aren't little rock statues on the trails? No. But should you trust them if there are? No. The trails seem to be marked in a different way. Some of those maps that I pulled up even had wooden posts that are carved as their trail markers, and the maps say look for trail posts as the trail markers. So they mark their trails not with cairns. All right? So this shit that she's about to go on about cairns is incorrect. Anyway.
That are actually like information out in the wild of where a trail is. So you look for those as to like follow the trail, you follow those rock statues. So they're not just cute things that people stacked up for like whatever reason, which is what I thought they were before I started hiking more aggressively. I used to be like, oh my gosh, look at that cute rock statue. And that's so cute. Somebody just made that. No, they're not there just for like fun. They're actually there to help you know where the trail is. So I didn't
Don't listen to anything she just said.
see any of those. So I was like, okay, I guess that's not where the trail is. So I just kept walking. And then the ground became like thick sand, like the sand where your foot just sinks all the way down. And
Okay, wait. Now she says the trail turns into thick sand. All right, wait. That would be red sands, because red sand says, there you go. Red sand says a portion of this trail beyond West Canyon Road features deep sand that greatly enhances difficulty in hot weather. If she had come to this website and looked up the trail she was hiking on, she would know that. This is a 3.5 mile. Okay, so I know she's on red sands now. This is a 3.5 mile hike round trip, right? This one's even better because this one uses the wooden trail markers. From the trailhead, hike straight across the paved trail and continue.
Hike from the trailhead, hike straight across the paved trail and continue towards the sandstone cliffs. The trail winds through a small canyon bottom where the hidden Pion Trail merges from a rock passageway on the right. Continue straight, climbing on a hill of lava rock and emerge at a four-way intersection. Follow signage for red sands leading straight ahead through an opened sand sage flat. From here, the trail follows along a sandstone ledge and crosses dry wash bottoms until reaching another four-way intersection with the lower Petrified Dunes Trail. Continue down west, so you need a compass so you know which fucking direction is west. Continue west down a steep slope, crossing the dry creek bed and meeting with the West Canyon Road. From here, the trail crosses the road and follows the sandy wash bottom surrounded by towering cliffs. The end of the trail is noted by a sign, or in wet periods, several small pools. So there's a sign, or when it's wet, there are pools where the sign is. This hike leads to an area nicknamed the Three Ponds, where water from rainstorms collect and forms three small pools of water. In the short window of time before the pools dry up, the waters spring to life with several aquatic desert pothole species, such as tadpoles, insect larvae, and 3 different species of shrimp. That's pretty cool, actually. Again, this portion, safeties and concerns. The portion of this trail beyond the West Canyon Road features deep sand and highly enhances difficulty in hot weather. Hikers must stay on mapped trails. Dogs must be leashed, scooped, and disposed of waste. Day hours from 6 to 10 p.m. Let's go back to this little guy. We're looking for red sands now. All right, so this trail here is red sands. All right, this highlighted trail right here, this is red sands right now. Looks like it comes out to here, and it merges with Hidden Pion, it looks like. As far as I can figure out with this clicky thing here. So this map is about to drive me nuts. Right, there's red sands. So I think this Hidden Pion might be part of, because these are both Hidden Pion. So I'm thinking one of these is also red sands. Yes, thank you. I am aware. So it was talking about a 4-way intersection here. So this is all just hidden. This all just says Hidden Pion from here on out. Here we go. Here's more red sands here. All right. So I'm guessing this is red sands. Down to here. No, that's whiptail. Thank you. Here. Because this is... for fuck's sake. Okay, and the Three Ponds trailhead. Remember, it says it ends at the Three Ponds. So this is the same trailhead here. Yes, thank you. That was way more effort than it needed to be. All right, so she parked somewhere around here. This is the trail she's on. Let's see if I can get to here. So here's... There we go. Here's the trailhead. This is the trail she's on. I'm guessing this is the signage she was supposed to be looking for here. Go away. I don't know why else this little icon would be there other than just, I don't know, signage. Again, this is a topo map. If you don't know what that means, this is showing elevation and the change in elevation. So if she had one with her and she knew how to read it, she would be able to see the change in elevation around her. Which, I mean, if she just sticks to the trail, with the exception of a couple little spots here, it's not that bad. And it even says here, well, actually, it says difficult. So if she had gone to the website, looked up this red sands trail, she would know that this is a difficult trail. She'd know it would take her about 2 hours. She would know that this sand trap is there, basically. That was going to take her. She was going to end up having to walk through that hot trail, that sand trail. She would have known about those junctions, and she would know that there are signs that she should be looking for to keep her on the trail. Because it says so. This right here is a signpost. Because this is the end of the effing trail. Where the 3 ponds would be. Alright? But this is all provided on the website from the Utah DNR for the Snow Canyon State Park. Alright? And nowhere have I found that it says that they use rock cairns as their trail markers. You go, my man. You go. I can't even do that. All right? So this is just stupidity. Everything that is happening to her right now is just her stupidity. Anyway.
Every step became just so hard. Like it was like thump, thump, thump. And I'm already a big girl.
Again, if she had done her research on the DNR site, she would know that this was there. She would also know that she's already on a difficult trail.
And it just felt like it's so much extra weight and so much extra energy. And it was so slow.
It literally warned her about this.
And I get about maybe a half a mile into the sand, and it is really hard to walk in. If you've never walked in sand like this, just like thank the Lords, because it's not like beach sand. It's just like sucking your foot into the ground.
We call it quicksand, but whatever.
And I passed a couple people that I had seen on the trail earlier that had also passed the same trailhead and also thought it wasn't right. And they go, listen, we just walked another maybe like a tenth of a mile up, and this is the wrong way. This can, like, the trail just like flat ends.
That's not true if you look at the map. There is no flat ends.
I don't know where we are, but this is the wrong way. And I'm like, oh, great. I just walked in the sand for no reason. Okay.
Did you talk like that when you talk to them? Did they then leave your ass because you talk like an idiot?
Hey. So I turn around. I get back to that turnoff that was in fact the right turnoff, just not marked well. And I look at myself and I go, okay, so it's
the DNR's fault that you couldn't bring a compass, download a map, check the website. This is 2020, by the way. Does this have a time? Does this have a date on it? Okay, the copyright's 2025, so I don't know exactly when this was put up, but still. Anyway.
mile up the trailhead before you get to the turnoff. So I still have 3 miles of this hike left. Do I think I can do it? And I look at my watch and I go, well, it's been an hour. Okay, if I do it, I should be back by 9:30. And 10 o'clock is like the time that you need to be back by. Like if you don't get back by 10, it gets dangerously hot. Like surface of the sun, cook an egg on virtually any surface hot. So I said, I think I can do it. I totally think I can do it. No big deal. So I go up, continue hiking, and it's not bad. It's really, there's some incline, I'm climbing up, which those are hard, but there's no like.
Even if she's on the Red Sands Trail, even if she had stayed on the trail that she claims that she had turned off on, she would have just been on another trail. And if it is the Red Sands Trail, she would have been on the Hidden Pion Trail. And it would have switched back onto the Red Sands Trail again. Right? If she had come to that first switch off, like she says she did, it would have just literally taken her back to another trail that if she had followed that trail would have gone right back into the Red Sands Trail. If she had downloaded a map, she would know that. She would know where she was. She would know that she was on the trail. Also, she would know that that sand was coming up. And she would know that she was on the right trail. Okay. Anyway.
Scrambles, and a scramble is like where it's like a big waterfall of rocks and you got to like maneuver up it. There was none of that. It was just kind of walking up an incline. And
okay, the fact that she says that there's no scrambles tells me that she's not on the White Sands Trail or the White Rocks Trail, because the White Rocks Trail does mention scrambles.
were some rocks in the road, and I still had that nice little shade, so I felt great.
And the
I get all the way to the top of this walk I was doing, which is called Turtle Wall.
the white rocks one says that there isn't shade. There isn't a lot of shade. And now she's mentioning the turtle wall. There's the tortoise walk. Now that's supposed to be, if she's on the tortoise walk, there's a big ass tortoise there.
Partially because the rocks are shaped like a big turtle, and partially because a lot of turtles go there. So it's, I guess, just like maybe they're coming to pray to their turtle god. I don't know, but there's a lot of turtle stuff on this hike. So I didn't see any turtles, which was a little disappointing considering I almost died on this hike. So I walk up to the top and looking over, I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. I'm so glad I did this. So glad that I, decided to do the trail. I can see all of St. George. Look at me. I looked over to the side. I gotta tell you this because it's the funniest thing ever. So there's a school.
I can't find any mention of anything like a turtle wall or anything about Snow Canyon, so I don't know what she's talking about. It's fun fact checking her sometimes.
School in St. George called Dixie College, and somebody thought it was a great idea to paint a giant white D.
I got nothing. It's a picture.
On the side of the mountain. So when you're up there looking at this beautiful view, you look over and you go and it's just like a big D. And you're like, somebody didn't think that through.
Oh, somebody thought that went through. Don't worry. Someone thought that through.
And so I'm chuckling to myself because I hadn't even noticed that it was there before. And I'm proud because I walked all the way up. And I'm like, now I just need to go back. And it won't be that bad. I can do it. So I start walking back. I stop and I take these beautiful pictures because I've taken my shirt off because it's starting to get hot and I don't care. And also, like, if I'm going to hike in the sun, I might as well get like a little tan. Don't worry. I had sunscreen on.
That was my first concern.
And I'm, taking these beautiful pictures.
So what really caused you to get back late? The fact that you got off trail and panicked because you were walking through sand and you didn't pay any attention to the fact that you were on a high difficulty trail, or
I find these like old, I guess, posts of like some ranch that might have been here before, or I don't know, someone put them there for my photo. I don't know why they're there, but I'm taking pictures.
Or they were marking the trail so you didn't get off trail.
Against them. And Dana and I are doing pretty well. He starts to get a little hot, so I pour some water on him, and I notice that our water is getting a little low.
You took 3 liters of water with you into the desert.
And I'm like, it's okay. Like, we only have a mile left. And if I don't have any water, I should be fine for that mile. Like, I'm okay. So we get to this next area and everything is not.
No, a mile takes her 20 minutes. Never mind.
Not marked.
So yeah, she should be fine in 20 minutes.
Again. And there are no indications of where to go. So I look left and look right and I'm like, okay. I mean, what do you do in this situation? I don't know what you do. So
You have a fucking map. And you have a fucking compass. At least have a fucking map. And you know which fucking direction is north. That's what you do in these situations, you dumbass. I got really heavy into hiking. I didn't know what this was until I got really hardcore into hiking. You're so fucking hardcore into hiking that you don't know to take a fucking map with you? Really? Are you really that dumb?
I looked and I just went with which one looks like most worn down. Because at this point,
Because erosion totally isn't a thing. Not in Anna's world.
I'm about a mile from anything, right? Any sign of civilization. And that's the weirdest part about a lot of these trails out in Utah is like, you literally don't see any houses or cars or people or anything once you get on the trail. So there's no like, oh, there's civilization. I just got to go over to civilization. There's like no civilization cue.
It's almost as if you had something that could point you in a direction that you knew where, I don't know, where you parked your car. If you had a device that could like point you back in that direction so that if you were lost, you could use that device to like point you back in that direction so that you could walk towards said vehicle and or civilization should you get lost. It's almost as if what if someone invented something way back in the ancient times that you could use, something that we've been using for as long as we've had brains, that we could use to navigate with that.
So I'm like, I can't see, any place that I'm walking
Or
to.
a map.
I just know I need somewhere, I'm going to pop over a little mountain or something, then I'm going to see where I need to go. So I go where the path is most worn, and that takes me down a whole bunch of rocks, which I had to climb down. I get down there, I walk. I get about half a mile, and I'm like, man, none of this looks familiar. Like, I should have hit the trail that takes me back to my car.
So I'm guessing at this point she's gone off trail, which is every single one of these maps that I've looked at has said hikers must stay on trails, which makes me think that the trails are fairly well marked in order to keep you on the trails. Going on a limb. I don't know. Never been out to St. George, never been to Snow Canyon. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have high standards. Maybe since I hike mostly where there's trees and it's easy to see where the trails are, I just assume everyone can see a trail. It's possible. Maybe I'm just being very judgy because it's Anna. Maybe. On the other hand, a map would not have killed you. Also, in all of these pictures, where is your backpack? You keep saying you had this 2-liter bladder of water. Where is it?
What is going on? And so right then I should pull out my phone, and up until this point I had not had GPS.
You know what doesn't rely on a GPS? You know what doesn't require a GPS? A compass and a map.
I just was like, literally no signal. Another fun part of these trails is you just lose your signal.
There's a thing called Darwin Awards.
So I pull my phone out, I look at it, and the signal pops up, and I'm like, thank goodness. And I'm like, okay, how far am I? And I'm expecting to have one of those moments, when you're like tired and you're like, oh my gosh, how far am I? And you like pull it up and you realize, okay, I've got half a mile, and like stop complaining. That's what I expected to happen. But
I expected to happen.
I opened it up and I looked, and I'm like, I've walked an entire mile off course, and I have to walk that mile back and then walk the mile back to my car. And I literally started to cry.
Good.
Like, I just started to cry, and then I stopped myself and I went, you can't cry. You need to save that water, because I didn't have enough water. So I pull out my backpack, I look at my supplies.
You took 3 liters of water out with you. Supposedly. And you've been gone for 2 hours. I don't know.
I see, like, can I make this? And I drink a little water, and I'm like, okay, I've just got to save the water. And
She took 3 liters of water out with her, supposedly. That's like your water for the day. She's only been out there for like 2, maybe 3 hours. I'm confused. She said she took 3... So she didn't take her water with her, is what I'm hearing then. She said she took a camelback bladder, a water bladder full with 2 liters of water at the beginning, remember? And she said she had another, I don't know, sippy cup thing that was another liter of water that she filled with ice. So she had a liter's worth of ice water. So she altogether had 3 liters of water on her, right? And now it's not yet 10. It's not yet 10 o'clock. She hit the road at 7. She started the trail at 7. It hasn't been 3 hours yet. And now she's telling me that she's almost out of water. So you went through 3 liters of water in less than 3 hours? So you were drinking a liter of water every hour. Where did you pee? How often were you peeing? I mean, great for hydration and all, but like I was checking the internet, and like the Cleveland Health Clinic and like a couple other health websites are like 3 liters of water is like slightly above what the daily intake of water is for a woman. And Anna's like a big woman, so 3 liters is probably exactly how much, or a little bit, probably exactly what she needs for a day. But that's my point. Like, that was your daily intake of water. You drank it all in 3 hours? I mean, props, I guess. But at the same time, like, Where's your water, Anna? You went out in the desert without fucking water? This is why I keep saying, where's your backpack in all these pictures? So you didn't take the backpack full of water. Is that what I'm hearing?
And I looked down at Data and I noticed that his pack
And this fucking thing on the dog, I have no idea what she's talking about.
needs to be refreshed,
Did it really, though?
which means the water has all evaporated out and now he's starting to overheat.
Is he? Is he, though?
So I take out the last of the ice water and I pour it over Data.
So she said the only thing that had the ice water in it was her little carrying cup thingy that she put a liter's worth of ice water in it. So she's taking the ice water from that, and now she's wasting the ice water by dumping it on the dog.
Back into that like special backpack, and I can link that down below if any of you guys are hiking enthusiasts. It's really great. Just to make sure, like in my mind, I was thinking I can make it, but if this dog dies, I don't think I will emotionally be able to handle it. So protect Data was all I'm thinking, is protect the pup.
Was the dog acting like he was overheating? Was the dog excessively panting? Was the dog being lethargic? Was the dog refusing to move? Knowing that dog, does the dog move at all? That dog, sometimes I'm not sure it's alive.
So I pour that.
But she's a martyr, you guys. She's a martyr. Anna will give up her water to protect her dog.
Ice water on him. I've got a little bit left, and that's it.
So all you took was this 1 liter of ice water. Is that what I'm really hearing? You took 1 liter of ice water out into the desert with you? That's stupid.
So we go back up. I climb back up the rock scramble thing.
Sure
I
you
get
do.
back up to the trail. I get all the way back to the trailhead.
If you're all the way back at the trailhead, why didn't you just flag somebody down for a ride? Where are the other people? You're on trails. Where are the other people?
Now, because I had another detour, it's now at the point of high heat.
It's 10 o'clock.
And Data's pack needs refreshed again.
You said you were a mile out and you had to get back. Tops, you were 20 minutes away from the point where you deviated. You were a mile out, you had to go a mile back, and then a mile to get to the car. You're looking at tops at your pace, 40 minutes to maybe an hour. The dog's pack dried up to deathly levels in an hour. And not even an hour, because you're moving from the point where you notice that you are off trail. So max 30 minutes to get from where you were to where you started. The dog's little safety pack thing dried up to the point where the dog is going to keel over dead in 30 minutes.
So I pour the last of the water on him and I say to myself, I can make it the mile back. I can figure out a way to do it. I will make it.
So you don't have your backpack with the other 2 liters of water.
So we walk and it's hard. It is really hard. And every step is so much more effort.
And now she's just making shit up. And I can tell from her body language that she's just making shit up.
And to go, I think it was 3/4 of a mile, took me 45 minutes because
Why?
it just took everything I had to keep walking because the heat was so bad. I was so dehydrated.
Here's the thing. Anna is close to 600 pounds, right? And if she is to be believed, at this point, she has been hiking for somewhere around 2 hours, right? And I have no idea what the fuck she did with her water. She claims that she started a day with 3 liters of water. And from everything I'm looking up on the internet, 3 liters of water is what you need for your daily consumption, if not slightly over, right? For an average sized woman, right? Anna's not average sized, even if she was at her ideal weight, right? Anna's tall, Anna's broad. Even if she was thin, she would not be an average woman, right? So Anna's daily water intake is probably high to begin with, right? So that's the thing. Anna is not in good shape at all. I don't care what she wants you to believe. So at this point, she's been hiking supposedly for around, well, if it's 10 now, 3 hours. She's gotten lost twice. From the sounds of it, she's gone off trail at least once, to the point where she's gotten off trail. And she keeps dumping her water on her dog. She doesn't have all 3 liters of water with her, from the sounds of it. From the sounds of it, she only took her little sippy cup thing with her, which held max a liter of water. And from the sounds of it, that liter of water was mostly ice. So yeah, it sounds great until you're thirsty and it's all ice and you don't have any water to drink. Cool, but that's the problem with the ice. And again, she keeps dumping the water on the dog as opposed to drinking it. The dog is going to be fine, probably. Even then, the dog might recover faster than you. Also, 3 hours of activity for a 600-pound morbidly obese woman in the middle of the Mojave Desert. I don't even know what trail she's on at this point. I can tell you she started off on the Red Sands Trail. I don't know where she is now. I might be able to do a little sleuthing just from the pictures she took and maybe figure out wherever the fuck she is. But I don't want to spend that much time on the internet. I already spent way too much time trying to figure out where she started. I can't tell you where she went. I don't want to spend that much time. All I can tell you is if she had had even just a map, this would not be happening, right? And from this point forward, she's going to start pretending like she's having like heat stroke, right? She's going to start pretending like she's dying of heat stroke. All of this is preventable. Every single thing here has been preventable, all right? So that's the really irritating part of this that really starts to grind my gears. On top of just the sheer stupidity that has led to this moment, let's pretend like she starts having severe dehydration, which she's not, by the way. She's not having severe dehydration. Let's pretend like she is. Let's pretend like she starts having severe fucking heat stroke, okay? Again, she's not, by the way. All of this was preventable. All of it. She could have taken some sort of shade source with her. She could have actually taken all of her water with her. Even then, like, water alone is not going to prevent heat stroke. She could have taken a map and not gotten lost. She could have had a compass and known which direction she was walking in. She could have gone to the website before she got out there and figured out that the trail she was starting on had a hiking difficulty of difficult. It was a 3.5 mile trail, not a 4 mile trail. And if she had gone on the other 4 mile trail, I believe the difficulty on that one was moderate, if not easy. She could have picked a different trail that would have been more suitable to someone of her physicality. Everything that is happening to Anna is happening because she was an idiot. Okay? Anna is the kind of person that overestimates her own abilities, gets out in the middle of fucking nowhere, almost dies, and is the reason why rescue teams have to go out there and put themselves at risk in order to save her ass. Because you can't tell me if her ass fell over because of actual heat stroke, how many people would it have taken to get their asses out there and get her out? Even if she's only a mile in. How the fuck are they getting in there and getting her out? I hate to sound like Alan right now, but let's be honest. She is 5'11" and she's 600 pounds. I can't carry her. I can't drag her. There's no way in fuck I could move her. Right? If I was hiking with her, I can't do anything for her. Maybe I can keep her from overheating. Maybe. But there's no way I could get her to shade. There's no way I could keep her cool. We're out of water. So I can't even, try to cool her down. We're fucked. She's screwed. And she keeps dumping the water on the dog. How's the dog going to survive if you're dead, Anna? Did you think that one through? Oh, yeah, I forget about that one. She'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, all of this, by the way, is fabricated anyway, in my opinion, because the things she starts to describe from here on out are not true symptoms of extreme heat exhaustion. Okay? They're symptoms of extreme stupidity, but not extreme heat exhaustion, in my opinion.
A quarter mile from the car, I start to shake, like visibly tremor, like my body is shivering. The heat now was at like 107 degrees because we had stayed so long on this trail because of all the detours, and the little shade that we had when we came in that made the walk-in so wonderful was gone, and I was in full sun, and all there were these little shrubs everywhere. So my body's shaking. I look down at my watch because that's the first place I always check, because as a plus size person, when I exercise, if anything ever feels off, the first thing I check is my heart rate, because that is like the most likely thing it is.
You're not a plus size person, Anna. You're morbidly obese. You need to quit lying to yourself. But go on.
I like to push myself. Sometimes I push a little too hard. So I check my heart rate. My heart rate is soaring, and then my body just starts to go cold. So it started with the shakes, and I didn't even feel cold. But then as my heart rate went up, my temperature just started to drop, and I started to really feel.
Okay. Symptoms of heat exhaustion may start suddenly or progress over time, especially with prolonged periods of exercise. Possible heat exhaustion symptoms include, this is from the Mayo Clinic, by the way, cool, moist skin with goosebumps when in the heat. Cool, moist skin does not mean you internally feel cool. The problem is internally, you feel like you're on fire. I have had heat exhaustion. You don't feel cool. The problem is you feel like you are boiling and you are trying to get cool, and your body is doing everything it can to cool you down, which unfortunately makes you do a lot of weird shit when it gets to the extreme points. I have never been that far, but I have worked on a team with several people who have. And it's funny at first until you realize your teammate is dying. This is why I get pissy about this. All right. Heavy sweating until you stop. That's always fun. Faintness. Everybody's kind of aware of the faintness thing. Everybody's kind of aware of the dizziness thing. Most people are aware that you start feeling faint, you start feeling dizzy. Most people are aware that you start feeling fatigue, you'll start feeling weak, you'll get that rapid pulse because your heart's trying desperately to cool you down by circulating things faster, which actually does the exact opposite, but thanks, body. Your blood pressure will drop, you'll start to get muscle cramps. Most, if not all people will start to get nauseous. Some people will actually even start to vomit. You will also get a headache because you are, again, dehydrating. Your brain is mostly water, and unfortunately, your brain's the first part to start shutting down. So if you're ever out and you're like, you feel hot, but your skin feels cool, that's not a great sign. If you feel hot and you aren't sweating, but you have been sweating, if you start to sweat and then you stop sweating, drink water quickly. Get in the shade, drink some water, stop whatever the fuck you're doing. All right. Yeah, stop all activity, get to a cooler place, drink water. If you have something this is a great time to have things that has what are those stupid things? The things Anna's always drinking, even though she doesn't need it. Sports drinks and that kind of stuff. This is a good time for that. Potassium and that kind of shit. But the thing is when it gets to the extreme points, like, you need to get out of the heat and you need to get medical attention. Period. Full stop. All right. I'm on the CDC site now. It doesn't matter how much water you have if the temperatures get too hot. It doesn't matter. You can drink all the water in the world. You're still going to overheat. All right. You're going to be thirsty, you're going to sweat heavy, you're going to be it's the disorientation. This is when you start seeing it in other people. The disorientation, people will hallucinate, people will start doing really weird things. They will talk, but they won't make sense. They will start to act very strangely. Some people will the guys I worked with, one of them started stripping. And at first we thought it was kind of funny because at first he's just taking his shirt off and we're just like, "Hey dude, you can't do that. We're working." And he's like, "Yeah, no, it's fine." And like he would seemed coherent, and then he started taking his pants off and we were like, "No dude, you can't do that." And that's when we figured out he was having heat stroke. And we had to get him to the hospital. It sounds funny, but it's not, right? Anna's over here trying to make it sound like she's fucking dying, and she's not, okay? These are people who we had to get to the hospital, right? I just needed to drink more water and sit in the shade because I was getting too hot, right? That was my problem, right? If you get to the point where you are, I was talking about some people get nauseous and then they will start vomiting. Go to the hospital. Get out of the heat. Go to the hospital. If you're hiking with somebody at that point and you can't get out of the heat, you need to do emergency, like you need to do something fast. All right. You need to call 911. You need to get a ranger out there. You need to get them out of the heat and into the cool ASAP. You need to get electrolytes or something into them quickly. Right. It's really, if you're going to be doing like backwoods hiking and that kind of shit, you really should take like a first aid, like a field first aid class, something like that, because this shit kills. I really cannot stress this enough. Anna's over here making up a fucking story to make herself sound like a hero. This shit kills, okay? It for real will take your ass out. And it kills fast, okay? Yeah, first aid, call 911. I mean, good luck. Sometimes, I hate to be like this, but good luck. If you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere and you don't have a signal, just don't put yourself in that situation is really the best thing to do. But if you're one of these people that has to prove you're harder than nails, at least take precautions and maybe don't go out in the middle of a desert without a map and a compass and your water. Going out on a limb. Yeah, these kind of things. So yeah, the heavy sweating, you're gonna sweat, and you know how you sweat, right? So if you're a heavy sweater to begin with and you're sweating more than normal, you know what that looks like. If you're a heavy sweater and you stop sweating, that's really bad. Drink your water, sit down, try to cool off as best as possible. If you start stumbling, you can't form words. You will notice that you can't form words, like your tongue will feel thick. You will have you'll be able to think, but you won't be able to like get the words out. You will think you're talking, but you're not. You will think you have said something and you're just like, ooh, like I'm not joking. You will just like mumble or you're incoherent, and people will look at you and they're like, are you okay? You're probably not okay. People will look at you in the eye and they will be able to see through your, like the condition of your eye. They will be able to see that there's something not right. If you're ever hiking with somebody and they start mumbling, or you look at them and they just don't look right in the eye, that's probably a bad sign. You will get pale. Your skin will be clammy. It might even be cold to the touch, but internally you don't feel that way. Your pulse will start going down. You will start getting cramps. Headaches are always a bad thing. If you start feeling any kind of like headache or head pain when you're hiking in the heat, that's like usually like the first thing to do. Just stop, cool down, drink some water, put your feet if there's a creek or something, put your feet in the water, cool down as best you can. Just get the fuck out of the heat. Yeah, seek immediate medical attention if the person vomits, if the symptoms continue to get worse, or if they last for longer than an hour. I would personally say don't even wait an hour. Just fucking get attention, period. Better safe than sorry. Trust me on this one. This is for first aid, apply pressure to the cramping muscles to try to relieve the muscle spasm, give water and electrolytes. Yeah, but that's for like minor symptoms. Don't fuck around with this shit, you guys. Yeah, the big thing is to reduce the body temperature. You don't want to like shock the system, clearly, but you want to get the temperature down. It's kind of like a fever. You want to get the temperature down quickly. Don't shock the system. You want to get people into the AC. You want to get liquids into them as fast as possible. With the heat stroke, they're saying do not give fluids. Honest to fucking God, if you've gotten to this part, throbbing headaches, confusion, slurred speech, nausea, dizziness, your temperature actually starts to spike. Like you take your temperature, I don't know how the fuck you would do that, but you take your temperature and it's over 103. Your pulse is basically you're having a heart attack. They pass the fuck out. Just call 911. Get them the hell out of there. Call 911. Try to get their body temperature down as much as possible. They are you need to get them out of there. End of discussion. That's not great. Somebody passes out on you, you are done for the day. I don't care what you're doing. You are done. They are going to the hospital. Whatever the fuck you were doing, you are now done. End of discussion. Don't fuck around with this shit. I really cannot stress this enough. Anyway, Anna is being a dumbass. Anna is playing the story up. And because Anna is doing this to be, I almost died, it pisses me off. Anyway. I'll put links to both of these down in the description down below for you guys. And I'll also put links to the Utah park here just for you guys so you can see what I was looking at. I'll see if I can't dig up that. I closed the window, but I'll try to get the national park link for the Cairns thing again in the description down below. But this is the part that infuriates me the most from here on out. So let's see if we can get through this without my head exploding.
Just out of it. I guess my body started to give out. That's the easiest way to say it.
No, it's not, because you're making this up.
And I started to panic, and my anxiety on top of all of the physical things that were going on.
I can believe if she's having an anxiety attack. If all of this was true, I can believe she's having an anxiety attack.
And did not make the situation better.
But I can tell from her nonverbals that she's making this. Look at it. She's like fucking.
And it's weird. I was holding Data like in front of me. I had my backpack over him to keep him cool.
Where was your backpack? In all of these pictures, where's your backpack?
By the way, totally fine, because his pack is, loaded with water and he's living his best life. And I start to freak out and I don't know what to do. So I see the small bush with like a tiny bit of shade underneath it.
This, by the way, is like the worst fucking thing, the worst possible idea you could have.
Literally get into fetal position and lie under this bush. And I just...
Where is everyone else? Like, where are the other hikers in this?
Breathe in, hold for 4, breathe out, hold for 4. And I just do that. I remember lying there under this bush, trying to keep myself cool, trying to calm myself down. And
she's trying to cry right now. She's trying to have an emotional moment. We talk about Anna and her weaponized tears and all this bullshit. Right now, she's trying to like work up her tears so she could cry for us, so we can know that she's reliving an emotional moment.
Thinking, I'm gonna die in Utah.
Look at her smiling while she's trying to do this.
A quarter mile from the end of the stupid trail.
Listen to her.
And I even thought, like, do I let Data go? Do I let him just run away in hopes that someone gets him and takes care of him? Will I die here? Like, I literally felt like that. Like, if you've never been severely dehydrated, it is terrifying. And the scariest thing about being dehydrated in somewhere like St. George is it is a dry air. It's not humid. So you don't even know what's happening. Like, it just hits you.
One of the first times I had heat stroke, I was in Arizona. I was in Flagstaff. I was like 19. And it is true. Like, it's a dry heat there. I was there for a Boy Scout thing. And they warned us about that. They were like, it's a dry heat. You won't feel it. And boy, I tell you what, it was beautiful weather. We were having a great time. We being myself and the other people from Indiana that I was with. We're used to Indiana where it's like muggy AF, so you know it's hot because it's muggy. And we're running around Flagstaff. We're having a great time. Like I think at least 3 of us dropped, honestly. We're having a great time. Feels like it's 70. It's like a 70 out here. Wow, we're having a great time running around being idiots. Because we're 19 and we're immortal. Yeah, hey, that shit took us out. But yeah, that's the truth. I mean, it's a dry heat. You don't realize it's as hot as it is until it hits you. So yeah, that is true. That is true. Thankfully, we had adults with us who knew better. But she's full of shit right now.
Terrifying because I've never felt
There we go. Did she poke herself in the eyes?
so alone because I've never needed somebody as much as I felt I needed someone in that situation, and I didn't have anyone to.
What is she? I wonder what she's like when she actually cries. Like, what is it like when she legit cries? Like, what does she look like and sound like when she is legitimately crying?
Help me. I
Your face didn't even turn red.
said I'm gonna have to save myself. I'm gonna have to save myself.
I'm gonna have to save myself. I'm gonna have to save myself. No one's going to save me. I have to save myself. This is the point of the story. This whole fucking setup has been this. I have to save myself. I'm such a big, strong woman. I can save myself, even though I have severe dehydration and I'm hallucinating from everything. And blah, blah, blah. If you were really having heat stroke as bad as she's claiming she has, you are not saving yourself. You can hope the dog's going to drag you to safety and that someone else hiking finds you. Knock on wood.
And I don't really have a choice.
Uh-huh.
I have to do it.
Uh-huh.
So I got up and I said to myself, I'm just going to do my deep breaths, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And
yes, breathing will get you through. Breathing is well known for saving you from heat stroke. That all of those things I read, every single one of them said, do measured breathing. That'll save you from heat stroke. Every single one. That's sarcasm, by the way.
just 10 steps at a time. And it's so funny. I don't know why the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt came into my head, but she said you can do anything for 10 seconds. And
because you're making this up?
turns out you can. And so I just literally counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As
I can stare at the camera and count to 10 too. That doesn't mean the story is true.
I crawled my way back to the car.
You crawled your way back to the car? You crawled for a quarter of a mile counting to 10?
There were points where I was hunched over.
And there's literally no one else on the trail? There's not even a ranger somewhere?
Trying to keep myself from vomiting, because when you're that dehydrated, you begin to oddly want to vomit and have diarrhea, which is just fun. It's like,
again, if she was this bad, these things are true, by the way. If she was this bad, she's not crawling back to the car.
it's a fun way to go. So everything was starting to really just break apart, and I just kept walking. And I remember,
Were you walking or were you crawling, Anna? Pick.
getting to the end of the trail where the pavement started, and now I'm like 10 feet from my car.
And this is even further how I know she's just making shit up.
And I remember looking at my car and going, I don't know if I can make it. It's just so far away. It's just so far away. Meanwhile, Dana's beside me, like perfectly fine. And I'm like,
I hate her so much right now. This story makes me hate her so much. Like, my tolerance for her during this video is just so thin right now. My urge to just shake her senseless is just so fucking low. Anyway.
I don't know if I can make it.
Like, I really hope she watches this video every once in a while and just, like, internally cringes to the point where, like, she just sucks herself up into a little black hole. This is fucking abominable.
And I stood there and I just went step again to 10 steps. 1, and I just counted my way. And when I got to the car, I just fell against it. And I opened the back seat, and
why are you opening the back seat of your fucking car? But whatever.
I had like one little thing of water, which I gave to Data.
Okay, first off, let's pretend for a minute that this is true. The dog is fine. You get to the car. I have one little thing of water. I'm dying of dehydration to the point where I'm ready to vomit and shit myself. But I'm gonna give my one little thing of water. By the way, you'd be like you'd be anyway, your first thought is to give the one little thing of water to the dog. You probably wouldn't even be coherent, let alone be like, oh, my one little thing of water. You know that thing I'm literally dying for? No, I'm going to give that to the dog. No, you wouldn't. I don't care.
And this is so sad. I had a 12-pack of Diet Mountain Dew.
And this is how I know she's making shit up.
Because that is what I drink to wake me up in the morning. And so I just chugged 3 of them.
Really? You chugged 3 Diet Mountain Dews that have been sitting in your car for the better part of 3 hours in at least 100-degree weather at this point, after you crawl/walked your way across the Mojave Desert to your car after dumping your water on your dog.
At Diet Mountain Dew in the back of my car, because at that point, anything that was liquid, I needed it so badly.
Except for the water. Anything liquid except for the water.
That I was going to pass out. And I remember sitting in the car after drinking way too much hot Diet Mountain Dew. And the fact that I drank that Diet Mountain Dew, like, it was the best drink I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I was so grateful and happy for this hot Diet Mountain Dew. And when I think about it now,
I don't think she was. Her nonverbals are just bullshit right now.
Oh, it's so disgusting. It's so gross.
Yeah, she's... What was it the behaviorist panel was talking about? And this is about her tone, actually, the way her voice is working, not actually about her body language at this point. But there's like a thing that people will do when they're lying. They'll their voice goes up. It goes up an octave. And that's exactly what she's doing right here. Her voice keeps going up an octave, like when she's telling the story. It was so disgusting! Like that kind of a thing. So,
but
I've been watching too much behaviorist panel right now.
In that moment, it saved my life. So I got back in a car. I drove back to the hotel with like the last of my energy. I stumbled upstairs to my room. I drank everything of water that was.
So after crawl/walking back to her car, she barely is coherent enough to get her car door open. She dumps what little water she has on her dog. She downs 3 boiling hot Mountain Dews, and then somehow manages to drive herself back to her apartment. She's not suffering from heat stroke.
Was in that hotel room. And then the joyous aftermaths of dehydration really kicked in, and I started vomiting and having situations downstairs.
And you didn't go to the hospital? You didn't call 911? I have had heat cramps to the point where, like, I do have problems with the downstairs plumbing. But if I was having problems to the point where I was also vomiting, I would be calling 911 or having my partner take me to the hospital. That's not great. Actually, I probably should have that looked at either way. But you should be drinking electrolytes, period. Like, even if you're not feeling like shit after you come back from a hike like this, like you've been out in the sun for 3 hours out in the desert. You should probably have some electrolytes anyway when you get home, if you haven't been drinking them while you were hiking in the first place, like just in general. But if you get home and you're having like loose stool problems, you should probably be having some electrolytes, period. Like, but she's like, oh, I got home and I just started yakking it out both ends. And you didn't call the hospital? You didn't call for help? It must not have been that happening then, because either that or you really are just dumb.
And that went on for a couple days.
You were so fucked up that you were yakking it out both ends for days and you didn't go to the hospital.
Like, it was bad. I called a friend who knows about, heat exhaustion and how to treat it, and luckily was able to get everything under control. But
You call a friend who knows about this shit and they didn't take you to the hospital? Every person I know who has any brains and knows about this kind of shit, if I were to somehow manage to get myself home in this situation, and I were to be like, hey, Ralph, I've been exploding out both ends for the better part of 2 days after I gave myself extreme heat exhaustion while hiking in the Mojave because I didn't take enough water with me and then got lost because I didn't have a fucking map or a compass with me. What should I do? And Ralph would be like, hey, dumbass, I'm going to come get you and take you to the hospital, or maybe you should just dial 911. Your friend doesn't know shit about this then.
But it was very, very scary.
Because you're an idiot.
And what I learned from all of this,
I learned something today,
is that I am really damn capable.
Okay, we're going to stop now because now I just want to punch her. The point of this story that I wanted to do is A, this story pisses me off. And I think I've made my stance on this clear as to why it pisses me off. Two, B, this video is one of the first, if not the first time, that I watched one of Anna's videos and I was like, because I've seen this before. And this is one of the first times where I watched one of Anna's videos and I was just dumbstruck with the audacity that she has to make shit up. This is like Amber Lynn level making shit up. This is, maybe she did take a hike in St. George. Maybe she did take a hike in Snow Canyon. Maybe those things are true. There are clearly pictures. Clearly. You know, where's her backpack? Who the fuck goes hiking like that without water? Why? I have so many questions. I truly believe that Anna is dumb enough not to take a map with her when she goes hiking in the desert because she just thinks she's fucking bulletproof. She probably just never even dawned on her, kind of a thing. But like, there's probably some kernels of truth to this story. She probably did go to Snow Canyon. She probably did walk around a little bit. She clearly got pictures, like I said. But this whole fucking story from the point from I start having extreme heat exhaustion and yada, yada, yada. She probably did hike through some sand that she didn't know was there because that sand part seems to be pretty early on in the trail. So she probably did start walking out on that trail and got caught in the sand. And she probably then was like, F it, I'm going home. Because it's not too far out from the beginning of that trail, you know? But that's probably the extent of it, you know? But then she decides to come up with this long ass story. She maybe heard someone else tell a story. Maybe she saw a TV series or a television show or heard a podcast, or maybe somebody else on YouTube was telling a similar story. Maybe somebody's TikTok. This is from 2020. Maybe she's taking someone else's story and repurposing it for her own, or maybe she's just making it up out of whole cloth. But again, she didn't do her research, so she's not getting her details right. And that kind of pisses me off too, because now she's trying to use something that is potentially very deadly, right? Something that I personally have suffered from, and something that I have had coworkers suffer from, to the point where we have spent afternoons in the hospital. Okay? I had an entire crew taken out from heat stroke to the point where we had to put a project on hold because the entire crew suffered from heat stroke so badly. Because somebody thought it was a great idea to go do a project in the middle of a fucking heat wave in Virginia. That was great. But that, like 112 degree weather, no shade in Virginia. That was great. Anyway, my point is, It's real. It really will F you up. It really will take people out. Somewhere around 2020, 2021, we lost a new young archaeologist. She was out in Texas. Her and her crew, it was her and two others, were out. They were doing a phase 1. By the time her fellow crewmates realized that she was having heat stroke, it was too late. They couldn't save her. People die of this. Okay? This is a real fucking thing. And Anna's over here making this fucking story up like it's cute. And her punchline is, I learned that I can do anything. Bitch, no, you can't. That's kind of the point. The delirium, the nausea, the dizziness, this is not funny. These are not things you shake off and you walk home and you guzzle boiling hot fucking Mountain Dew and you just drive home and then spend the next 3 days vomiting up in a toilet and then you're just fine. Oh, I learned. I just called a friend. They just waved a magic wand and I was fine. No. Anyway. So, all right, that's a 2-hour long rant. All right, so anyway, I just thought this would be a good video to watch because Anna is once again doing her fucking I'm going to go hiking in the middle of the desert story arc that she insists on doing. And yeah, so I'm interested to see if we get to hear another one of her stupid I almost died stories, because from the looks of it, she's not taking maps with her. She still doesn't have a compass. It's just her and the dog. I'm not seeing any kind of like water. She's drinking fucking Starbucks before she goes hiking. And it's been really hot. It's been hot here, so I can only imagine it's been hot out west where she's starting her national parks tour. So I'm interested to see if we're going to get another one of these kind of stories. And if we do, I'm going to go off. Like, go off. But yeah, I also thought this was a good story to just kind of like, I want people to see like the level she will sink to in order to make a heroic story for herself. And I just think it's stupid and it pisses me off. Anyway, I will put the links to the heat stroke stuff down below. And I'll also put the links to the Utah thing in the description. And I will try to find the national parks link also. It's just in case people are curious about the Cairns thing, because I didn't realize there were some parks that use the Cairns. But now that I'm thinking about what the Cairn actually, what they're talking about, I have seen those as trail markers, but they're so obviously trail markers. Like, they're huge. They're like the size of me. Anyway, they're not what Anna was talking about. Further proving that she's an idiot and you shouldn't listen to her about this. Anyhow, if you've made it this far, go ahead and put a compass and or a map down in the comments section. Prove to me that you've been paying attention. And yeah, go ahead and put that down in the comments section. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Don't trauma dump in the comments section, please. I've done enough of that in this video. Don't trauma dump in the comments section down below. The internet is not a safe space, but do let me know what you guys think. Are there any good resources that you would like to share with people for these kind of things? That would be great, actually, if you guys could share resources with each other for things like, you know, precautions and that kind of stuff. That would actually be really great, considering we're going into the summer. And I know a lot of you guys do like to go outside, and I don't want people not to go outside. I just really want people to be aware of the dangers of heat. There's dangers in cold, too. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, downplay cold. That's a real problem, too. It's just more people tend to go out in the heat than they do the cold, because the cold is more uncomfortable. So there's that. And yeah, so I don't know if you guys could like share some helpful links with each other as far as like, I don't know, any other kind of like weird shit that can go wrong out when you're out in nature. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of things that I don't think about because there's all kinds of things that I don't do when I go out in that, like I don't fly fish kind of a thing. I don't deep dive. I don't do a lot of water stuff, that kind of stuff. You know, that's kind of thing. Let me know what you guys think of her story. Have you ever been to Mojave? Have you ever been to this particular park? That kind of stuff. Just let me know what you guys think of the story down below. Don't forget, your emoji is a compass or a map. And that's all I've got for you guys. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting this channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. And I've got 3 tiers of membership if you guys are interested. And that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. I'm going to go cool down. And I will see everybody in the next video.
This
Bye.
is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.